give a couple minutes because there are students starting up online for folks that join us through Room. And so this is the first meeting of this semester, also meeting. And so we have quite a few exciting items to announce and discuss as well. So while we're waiting for these things starting up, I just very quickly announcing that this is a new T-shirt. Both Team USA and us, we have the same design. So the size, of course, it's different because, for instance, I'm wearing the US size large, and this is Asian size, so it's like X large. So you need to figure out what your size is, and we have, I think we have 50. Yeah. Okay. So for those who has a wrong size and such, no big deal. We can do some changes. The Team USA colleagues find out that hey, they are running out of the largest size because again, this is an Asian size, so it's on the smaller side. The so let's get started because of the time constraints. I'd like to first introduce a few of our new colleagues, and the first person I'd like to introduce is Asa. Asa is our new Vivo colleagues, and we're very glad for him to join us. Asa has been in Shanghai for a while, right? So would you like to say a few words to the colleagues?
My name is Stan Villeneuve. I've spent the last 20 years in Shanghai. I'm a lawyer. I'm licensed to practice in California. I've been teaching as well as working with Chinese law firms. I did some classes in Huazhen. Otherwise, I also got most of my education in China.
He's arriving next week, and he is a specialist in operation management as well as supply chain. So, Bill, could you introduce yourself? Hello? Can you hear us?
Hello?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so communities. Yeah, so at the moment I'm the Chit's supervisor. So I hope I can join you, meet you next week, and I hope I can learn from you. Thank you.
Okay, welcome aboard. And after welcoming new colleagues, we also saying farewell to a current colleague. Yin, of course, everyone knows that she's been working at the Dean's office for a number of years. And her new role will be at the graduate office. So for folks doing the MBA programs and such, teaching MBA, you're still going to have a lot of chances to interact with Yin. In the meantime, during the transitional stage, Yin is still going to help out with some of the tasks. So let's give a welcome, and actually a well round of applause as a token of appreciation to Yin. So Yin's new office is going to be at WKU or second floor, right next to the HR, the new HR offices. So please, if you got the opportunity to swing by and say hello to Yin in her new institutions. We are going to overcome and flourish more and more. Again, we thank Yin for her years of service for us. Thank you again. So the next good important thing is the AACSB update. And during the winter holiday, I basically worked through on this issue, spent a lot of time. And specifically, one of the highlights is on January 23rd, the chair of the peer review team, Dean Chappell, visited Team USA, and we spent a whole day discussing a number of things. The basic message is that AACSB has so many checks and balances. By the time they already decided to do a site visit, which is going to be April, chances are we have a good chance we're going to get it. Now, that said, we still have a lot of things to do. And so right after that meeting, we have a Gantt chart. So what we need to do this and do that. So as of now, everything on our end needs to be done, including, for instance, this material, that material. Say Susie on basically putting all your publications on CV. Basically, go online, download them, and of course, it's not an open access. So you simply print out the first cover page and such, and send everything over to the QSA already. And they are going to invite students for interview. So it is decided that, hey, since we have so many exchange WKU exchange students over there at the QSA now, so instead of grabbing students here, doing the night interviews and online, why not simply invite the students already at the QSA? So this is a good, great suggestion. So we that's how we do the student interview. Now, faculty interview, the site visit team said we want to see 5 to 6 people, say like each areas and such. So we invited based on the prescription by the AACSB. We invited a number of faculty to participate in night interactions and they need to thank those people willing to do the night duty. So Margaret is gonna, our most senior faculty, Margaret, okay. Margaret is under the, it's a little bit under the weather, so she's not here. But anyway, Margaret is going to represent as a most senior faculty as well as representing the management. And the marketing, Dr. Samkhya agrees to do this. And accounting, Steve agreed to do this. Rob is going to do the GBIS, and of course Michael the finance. And also specifically, AACSB requires 1 or 2 junior faculties, first-year faculties to participate. So Ali is not only the first year, but also representing econ. And we know that the econ is excluded from the AACSB accreditation, but still, it's nice to have a representation. And the other one's Yuki in finance, also the first year. So those are our. We also want to interact with the MBA students because we do have the programs. And the representative is Owen. Owen is the most senior people because since the establishment of WKU in 2012, Owen is a first-year freshman. So Owen literally knows the history of the WKU from the beginning. And now she's pursuing MBA, so he's a perfect candidate to represent MBA students. So that's and Owen is going to, because the way AACSB, they want to interview, have a conversation. So Owen is going to actually sitting with the faculty members. So that's how they want it. And we're trying to deliver, so we said that that's why we also have this t-shirt. So QSA, when they do the site visit, QSA, everyone's going to, not everyone, but most people is going to wear this t-shirt. And we, after this meeting, I think we are going to start distributing the t-shirt. Yang is going to send a notification message later. And when we are ready to distribute. Just for your information, my size is US size large. And for Chinese size, for this particular one, it's X large. So XXL, so just using that as a reference. And if you feel that it's too big or small, yes, we can exchange. And ultimately, of course, we're going to run out of sizes. QSA find out that they ran out of all the large sizes, and that's what we do. And also, over there, I saw their banners, I saw their, for instance, in our new building, they all have those bearing pylons. The bearing, so in this building, we have a lot of those pylons. What they had a good idea is that they put their missions keywords on those otherwise ugly pylons to decorate. So over time, we're going to start to have a similar branding image across different campuses. So those are ongoing. But for now, the key focus is to prepare for the April 2nd through April 5th site visit. As that, I think we are doing a lot of those things. For now, I think what we need from the faculty is enough. But just in case USA need to have additional supporting materials or artifacts, we were provided as needed. So anticipating that next week, next month, normally we run this as needed, once a month is most. So I planned 2 meetings, and of course, if they don't need the last minute items from us, then that's great. We just need to have 1 meeting to be done with it. So just keep that in mind. Temporarily, it's March 14th and March 28th. That's 2 meetings. And I hope that we just need 1 meeting, because 1 meeting means that, hey, every materials we need to give it to them. That's it. That's sufficient. Now the biggest item that is still need to be done is, since the peer review team cannot visit in China campus, we want to have a video tour of this building and its facilities. So that we are in the process of hiring a professional production company to do this. Again, because of the time constraint, what we're going to do is that instead of have narratives of people talking about the introduce the buildings, we're simply going to take a shot of the key side of the key aspect of these facilities and doing the music and subtitles, that's it. Because otherwise we do not have time. Everything has to be done by March 15th. To give the end video, for instance, we need to take care of that by March 8th and send it over so that USA, their video editing team, can have time to finish editing as well. So that's AACSB update, and the chair of the peer review team mentioned that we are going to get it. And of course, before we can clinch this, still we need to make sure all these artifacts are there. So nothing is certain until it is done. So despite that, we are hopeful that this is so we have to finish it strong. So that's the AACSB update. Now, for during the conversation about AACSB, we discussed a lot of things. For instance, assessment and how can we improve that, as well as mentioned about the curriculum revisions and new course proposals. So specifically, during the discussion with WKU, we talked about curriculum revisions, and again, the accounting program comes into the discussion because we bring the issue of the government accounting, and actually, Toby is associate dean over there. Toby also mentioned that we probably don't need 2 taxes over here. So just using that as examples. Yes, it may be difficult to have Team USA side change your curriculum sheets, but we can do this through flexible arrangement. For instance, through course substitution and other ways to improve our. Again, the basic message is that we should be consistent across the campuses. However, given the uniqueness of our student body as well as the situation, we can excel. Just give you some examples for it, especially for new faculty members. At KUSA, the general math is very rudimentary, 1044 math. That's a pre-calculus math. Very simple, very rudimentary. But over here, that's far from sufficient for our students, most of them pursuing graduate schools. So that's why we, instead of 1,000 level math, we are doing the 4-credit calculus 1, calculus 2. So that's one of the example. Another good example in accounting program, for instance, we do not teach computerized accounting, the 2232, but rather it's accounting information system, because computerized accounting in today's world, it's given. You cannot do anything without some kind of a computer-assisted program to start with. So that's why, just give you some of examples here and here. And also, we are proposing new courses. I have to first thank Chit. Chit, for instance, when they proposed that the business analytics programs over there, that's do as you go kind of. So they proposed the program, they proposed the courses, but not the actual content of those courses. So Chit actually developed some of those in great details. So another good example is MBA courses. So when I want to buttress the economic side of the knowledge for our MBA students, then I realized, hey, there's no econ courses for MBA except one of the econ, but beyond that, there's nothing else. There's no electives whatsoever besides one of the principal economics course. So I proposed good times for good economics for hard time. That's a course title for as a possible addition. And Bill, who just introduced himself online, he's very much interested in developing operation management course. Okay. So we have some technical difficulties, and Bill is cut off again. Anyway, so Bill, okay, so Bill, we just mentioned about you, and because during the interview and such, you mentioned that you're interested in developing operation management course, the graduate level course for our MBA students. So those are the assessment side of it, we are prescribed by Team USA because whatever the assessment plans, well, it's given to us, we have to be consistent. So AACSB did mention that it's about closing the loop. So when we not only do the assessment, but also how are we going to closing the loop. Now another side of being consistent, especially taking assessment plans from TUSA, is that a lot of times their assessment may not be really applicable on our side. Just give an example, I forgot which course, I think they wanted the marketing course or management course. They wanted 6 simulations or something, which is really not possible to do because they're we don't even know where that thing is coming from. And anyway, another side is that's why we use additional external assessment tools. For instance, why we end up is using mathematics 2415 or calculus 1 or 2 in place of pre-calculus, because students over the years give up a strong voice. They have the need for those higher level methods. So using that, we are literally closing the loop using external assessment, what's needed by our students. And internal assessment is really fine-tuning what has been doing. But all the great new ideas, novelty ideas, are really from the external assessment or external feedback or demand. Let's just give you another example, the peer review team chair. They mentioned one of the course, why they have that course is because the chair of the advisory board says, oh, this course is very useful and you should have it. And of course, when the chair of the advisory board says you should have it, then it better develop. And it turns out it is a very useful course. So assessment is something that we use both internal, that is prescribed, and we're probably going to use more of external. And the great thing with China is because the Ministry of Education requires so much data. For instance, each student upon graduation, they have to have a paperwork. Hey, if you graduated, did you have a job? If you have a job, where it is. Now, if you do not have a job, did you get to graduate school? If it's a graduate school, which kind of graduate school? So that's why we have the tremendously detailed data on our graduate students. Another good way of doing external assessment is our students' incoming student body is a bottom of the tier 1. Despite they call it tier 1, but they're marginally tier 1. They're literally just right on the edge. And I take a very quick check. How many tier 1 universities are there in China? 400 to 500, because each province, what's considered as a tier 1 is different. So, but that's in the ballpark. So that's our student level, about 400 to 500 incoming intake. But upon 4 years of graduation, in a different ranking, one of the ranking is the quality of our graduates go to grad school. We are ranked in the number 13 in China. So from 4 to 500, number 13. That's a very powerful assessment as well as a great story. And have to thank our faculty members during their 4 years that truly transforming their lives. And if you take a look at the mission statement, it's really transformed the student. We also discussed about faculty qualification during the meeting. It was a very long day, discussed a lot of things. And so one of the questions is the chair asked, hey, we know your standard is the 2 peer-reviewed publications in 5 years, but what about quality? What's your consideration here and there and such? So we discussed, and since we have new folks here, again, there are basic minimum qualification, what we consider as a necessary condition, not sufficient condition. That is 2 publications, index publications within 2 years. 5 years. So during this reappointment process, again, I made a positive recommendation to all the folks under reappointment, and I'm expecting everybody is gonna get it. Again, that's my expectation. I will not speak for the administration because ultimately the decision lies with the provost and the president. So I'm expecting, that's what I'm saying, everybody's going to get reappointed. But still, during the reappointment letter, you're going to see some of us say, you have to meet the AACSB standard, that is 2 peer-reviewed publications in every 5 years. But that's a minimum standard. Provost really only wants to see Q1, Q2 publications because statistically, among the both campuses combined last year, 79% of publications are either Q1 or Q2. For Q1, I forgot the exact statistics, it's around 50%. So since half of publication are already Q1 and the overwhelming majority are Q1, Q2. So if you publish Q3, Q4, yes, it meets AACSB standards, but still, it does not do your good in terms of a tenure decision and such. Now, there's a great exception. When you collaborate with students, well, if you want to gear towards a Q1 publication, you'd be much better to just do it yourself. You spend so much time to helping them. So Q3, Q4 is perfect for that purpose, and the turnover is quick and such. It's basically it's both a research activity as well as a service activity. So why not? So that's some of the main things I want to mention. Now, over time, the focus is also changing as well. Now, especially for faculty season here, you probably noticed that over time, students become more and more aggressive in pedaling for higher grades. They become very aggressive in that, and so one of the big focus I have nowadays is really focus on recruitment, especially with the pandemic. It's gone, lack of a better words. It's whether gone or it's just by government decree. So I'm expecting I'm going to do a lot of those travels. And for instance, I'm going to do the travel this weekends to Hangzhou to do recruitment. But please be aware that students become aggressive. To avoid a lot of those aggravations, especially for new faculties, I mentioned that, hey, the minimum GPA, if you have a curve of 2.9, that's going to save you a lot of aggravations. And 2.9 is really not difficult, it's B-. And if the students need to fail them, because some students are just, they don't even show up. But for those who try hard and such, that's how you do those things. And since I'm looking over the teaching evaluations, most folks has no trouble with so many areas to get 4s in most of the areas, but 2 areas people falters. One is student effort and engagement. Most people below 4, in the mid 3s. Well, people figure, okay, to get a good teaching matters, let's make it easy and still be happy, then they're going to give me a good grade. Have force all across. For instance, effort and outcomes, 4.3, 4.4. So you have to do other things. And another, so I know some of faculty is good. So the message here is that yes, you want a student to work very, very hard for their grades. And they have to earn each point. But for those who need to fail, you fail them. With no hesitation. But for those students, otherwise made a good effort, it's easy. For instance, you give an extra bonus point in the exam, and you do not cap your points to 100, for instance. So you can literally fine-tune. You can target 2.9. I can have exact this class average. Because all I need to do is to each time I give a different number of bonus points. So over time, I encourage folks to seek out advices from those with good teaching, especially student effort and outcome. Just about everybody agrees, but there are a few folks. So please, if you have those across the course, please share your knowledge. I'd be happy to share with you if you want to improve your teaching. Anyway, the SPF seasons here. Student partner with faculty. Again, Erica really loves it very much. So please consider it. And also SPF give you extra funding for you to buy, I think if I could use the SPF to buy a nice computer, right, or a big screen or something.
No, there's
Okay. Anyways, some of those things, but I also can use that for apply for conferences and such. So SPF, I strongly encourage you to use. There are two different kinds of SPF, by the way. One is for during the regular semester. The other is summer. Summer, you do get paid extra. Now, Eric is proposing that for folks doing the SPF for regular semesters, again, that's his proposal, students will get a university approval. People still get a little extra, not a whole lot. A little extra just to encourage everybody to get involved in the SPF projects. So that's SPF, that's strongly encouraged. And I sent the message about business plan competition with the keynotes and such. Again, please strongly encourage your students to do. Now, I have the pleasure of, as we grow, as we have more and more faculty, the participation in different kinds of national competitions and such, we have more and more people get involved. And last year, just to give an example, we have an HSBC, which each university can only have one team. So last year, Margaret and also her colleagues doing so. So the campus, such as last April mentioned, okay, let's go. Can we get it the next year? I said, okay, that's only fair. And however, once we have a rotation, moving forward, we should have formal competition, especially when each university won't have a one team allowed. Most of the time, I do not anticipate any constraints like this. So we can have as many teams as possible. As we grow, I'm anticipating we are going to have a more and more competition like that, because a lot of times each competition can limit. For instance, I forgot which one, there's a trading competition. Each university can only have up to 3 teams. So I think we are going to have a more and more. I will think about this very carefully. I already put on my calendar in December, HSBC competition. By then, I'm going to remind our colleagues, hey, you are interested in leading your teams to compete, then you should think about start forming your teams over the summer and the winter break. And then right after the spring semester starts, we're going to have a competition to decide which teams can participate and such. So as the time grows by, we're going to have, for those teaching $49.99, we can use a real project in place of CAPSTEAM, because CAPSTEAM is about using a simulation. So if you already have a real project, so why do you need to use a simulation? Be sure that those student learning objectives, as well as assessment-related things, it's being incorporated in your real-life projects. So that's we are really moving forward after this semester, fully using the OER for principles, post-principal finance, and put a link for marketing faculty to consider. Again, just to explore, because I just received, they have this new OER book available. I checked it, I think the instructor resources are already there. They are going to have the Canvas cartridge, because after this semester, there's no more Blackboard for us. They have a Canvas cartridge ready very soon. Because you have a cartridge ready, that makes teaching so much easier. We need to plug in and everything's populated. So please explore that and no hurry. The other thing is that for folks, Rob mentioned the word that the perfect string is broken, because we never got any issue with getting, in our division, get people paid with overload pay. But the perfect string is broken, was broken last winter, because I always print everything out and deliver to the BCA office. Please sign, please sign. But last time it was registration was late, and by the time I did the please sign, I was almost on the phone daily, but they never signed. And then everybody got so that's how it. And as of yesterday, the grades was in with HR. So people in the winter are going to get paid. And I will start going after please sign the winter, please sign the spring, please sign the spring. And the spring payment is not due until I think it's March, or actually I think it's April. I forgot what's the pay cycle. So again, those who didn't get paid in winter or after winter, we're going to get catch up in March. And I learned my lesson. I don't just give them the hard copy anymore. I'm going to both scan them, email, and then, so I'm going to do both. And so that's actually Erica was trying to sign them, but I never emailed to them. I don't happily they're never. I don't have it on my PC in the US, and then it's really screwed, and he cannot sign it electronically. I don't recall what's. I think the last one is a Bloomberg integration. During a site visit, the peer review team is very much interested in, especially on the WKU side. We did so much integration, and they mentioned how can we encourage it, because at QSA they have more terminals than us. We have 12, they have 16, I believe. But students just not interested in using it. And so the first question they had is, what if there are too many people using it? They said, oh, that's not a problem, because we always have very few people using it. And over here it's quite a different story, because in the first year, I forgot that we have 10,000 hours locked in on 16 or 12 terminals, or 100,000 hours. 100,000, okay. So in the first year, among 12 terminals, we have over 100,000 hours logged on those terminals. And why? Well, first of all, I have to thank my faculties. A lot of them already integrated in your course teaching. And once you integrate that, well, that's a lot. And second is that we always encourage extra bonus point. For those students who finish Bloomberg Market Concept training, which is about 10 hours, you can never finish in 10 hours because it's slow. More like 15 hours. But what I did, I figured out a trick. I just, because I did it myself. I want to see how much hour I'm going to spend. After I become frustrated with how slow it is, so I just fast forward, but never go beyond half. Beyond half point, that can cause you cheating. But still, even that takes me like, I figured it's going to be 15 hours. So students gonna earn Bloomberg Market Concept. They actually have 1% of extra bonus on the one course of their selection. You cannot do double dipping. So at the end of the semester, I'm going to send out that list to the faculties involved. You only give those 1% extra bonus point based on my list. So whatever students show you doesn't count. And that's integration. Bloomberg also is a stellar example. How do we transform students' lives, especially for our students who head over to the investment banking business. A lot of people are surprised, gee, you guys already know how to use Bloomberg. And that's so that's it from me, and I know the time is tight. I'm going to open the floor, so if you have any comments, go ahead, Ken.
Regarding the 4998, I have 3 questions.
Sure.
Number 1, for those students who got an incomplete grade, they should go to their professor, right?
Correct.
The one who gave them the
Correct.
incomplete grade, not me.
Correct.
Okay. Then, because right now, based on my 4998, my statistics, I check all my students. A lot of my students are coming from finance who dropped the course, as well as accounting. A lot of accounting, it's only their first time to take.
Okay.
So I'm just worried that in the
So
future.
moving forward, we're going to factor in that and start to split.
What do you mean?
Basically, for instance, offering finance in finance 4990 as well as accounting 49. Again, depends on faculty resources, of course, and all those kind of things. So we are going to more specialize in the field.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of just using MGS 4998 as a catch-all.
Yeah, because I'm worried that if everybody's going to
Understood.
drop, everybody will go to MGS 499 in spring.
I will send you a follow-up email with some of the reminders as well. So the loophole is going to be closed. And again, for people who withdrew, in principle, next round, I'm not going to allow you to take that in the spring. You choose not to graduate on time. If you stick for that and you fail, that's a different story. But you don't even try. And there's no exams in the thesis course. All you need to do is to follow the whatever instruction tell. Do 1, 2, A, B, C, D, E, and it's not difficult to have a C, but a lot of students doesn't even try. So that's and please incorporate in the syllabus in the fall. Whoever teaching the 4998, if you withdrew, you cannot take this course in the spring. And that's basically, again, we are going to encourage to have a perseverance. And it's incomplete, that's fine, because you didn't finish, but you are trying hard. And then the Chit has the 2 F's definitely disappeared. You contact them, ask me to do this, and they probably disappeared altogether. I can figure it out. Yes, they just disappeared, and they don't even try. So.
Oh, by the way, so I heard there are a lot of accounting students they exchange in the fall semester, so they cannot take like ACCT for 998 like in fall semester. So how do you handle that?
I can answer that.
Oh, that's a different story. See, yes, because they don't offer that course over there.
Regarding the exchange student, because most of the exchange students who took in fall, whatever major, I think they are allowed to take the spring, as long as they are exchange students. Because based on my experience, when we taught the spring, most of them are exchange student, gap year or gap semester, and those students who got F. But right now, everybody is first time. So
Okay,
I'm
first
so.
timers, okay.
Yeah, and last one, because just like Dr. CJ said that it's a requirement for finance and accounting to write finance and accounting theses. And my major is management. So I hope for those readers will be assigned,
Absolutely, you gotta
please be
eager.
nicer.
Yeah.
Because my major is not finance and accounting, and I'm trying my best to help them to write the
I have
finance
the
and
email draft
accounting.
already, by the way. I just want to send it later after this meeting. Yes.
Thank you, Dr.
Yes, I thought about those things. Thank you for. Okay. And any other? One of the things I noticed this year is very unusual. That is, in order to taking care of students with a 3-party agreement, because that's what they termed with a permanent job offer. But before they can get into a permanent job, you have to have a 6 months, 3 to 6 months, they call it quote-unquote internship, but it's not actually internship. It's really a probational period leading towards a permanent position. Normally that we have quite a lot of students, 30 or so, but this year, nobody, and very unusual. Yes, there are several people with internship, not on probational period. So, this is quite unusual. I don't know whether it's because with pandemic is declared over, now the pursuing graduate study becomes so much easier. The students really, most of the students become interested in pursuing graduate school again instead of, yes.
So what we say is, for each floor we have a meeting room. But I found actually right now the professors cannot use the meeting room because the students always study there.
Which room?
Meeting room, the
study-
second floor.
Study area.
Actually the second floor we have 2 meeting room, right?
Oh, you mean the discussion room?
Yeah. So I think maybe we should give 1 room for professors
Sure.
because the student can use the library soon. So I think sometimes I just pass by there, so I found students just put a book inside. So which means they occupied. Even the Dr. J put the 2 hours there. Actually we cannot use. So which means sometimes not very convenient for us to discuss with students. So I think maybe we
And
can.
so please, area colleagues, please discuss which room you would like to reposition this. And let me know, so I will
Okay.
take care of it. Okay, any other discussions and final words? So this is the beginning of a new semester, and I know folks are actually, but another thing, very quickly, as usual, especially for new faculty members, to have a common exam, you first need to schedule a venue. Again, C135, because university only has one large auditorium that hosts can sit over 500. This is considered as a key university assets. So I've been informed that I cannot approve any of those common exam until about the 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks ahead. So that's why if you put a request as such, I cannot approve until close to that period. But for all the folks that apply for, say, like a GHKD 102 about the 300, and the other, I just click on OK right away because I don't have that constraints. So if you do not have too many students that can be spread out in B102 or B101, those are going to get an approval right away, and I cannot approve that until it's getting close. Okay. So on that note, any final words? Glad to see everyone and